You know, sometimes the most powerful messages we ever hear don't come as direct commands or lectures. They come as songs. And today, we're diving into one of the most famous of all, Isaiah's Song of the Vineyard from chapter 5. It's this incredible story that starts out with so much love and care, but then it takes this really dramatic turn and ends with a verdict of complete desolation. So let's break it down, verse by verse. All right, so the song kicks off in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1. And right away, it paints this really beautiful, peaceful scene. The prophet's basically saying, hey, listen to this song my beloved friend is singing about his vineyard. And get this location, a very fruitful hill. We're not talking about just any old plot of land. This is prime real estate, the perfect spot just bursting with potential. But it's not just the land that's special. The song gets very specific, calling it the choicest vine. Now that's more than just saying it was a good plant. It's a huge symbol. Our sources tell us this vine represents the house of Israel itself, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So right out of the gate, we understand this vineyard is special, it's chosen, it has this incredible heritage. Okay, so moving into verse 2, you see just how much the owner puts into this. I mean, he doesn't just stick the plant in the ground and hope for the best. No way. Look at the level of care here. He builds a fence, he painstakingly clears out all the stones, he even builds a watchtower and a wine press right there on site. He is doing literally everything humanly possible to make sure this vineyard thrives. And this is where the allegory really starts to unfold. So the vineyard, that's the house of Israel. That protective fence, that's divine protection. The tower he built, it represents a stable government to keep everyone safe. And the wine press? Well, that's the law of Moses, the whole system designed to produce righteousness. You see? The owner has given them everything, every single tool they could possibly need to succeed. And then, bam, the second half of verse 2 hits, and the whole story just flips on its head. After all that work, all that investment, the owner comes looking for his harvest. He's expecting these perfect, juicy grapes, right? But what does he find? Wild grapes. The bitter, sour, totally useless kind. The whole thing, it's a complete bust. Suddenly, the music just stops. In verse 3, the whole vibe changes. We're not in a peaceful vineyard anymore. We're in a courtroom. The owner turns directly to his audience, the people of Jerusalem and Judah, and basically puts them on the jury. He says, I need you to judge this case for me. You decide who's right, me or my vineyard. It's such a brilliant move because he's asking them to judge themselves, and they don't even realize it yet. And then in verse 4, he lays out his entire case with one single powerful question. He asks, what more could I possibly have done for my vineyard that I didn't already do? He's basically saying, look, I did my part. I did everything perfectly. The implication is crystal clear. If there's a problem here, it's not with me, it's with the vineyard. So after making his case, the owner is ready to deliver the verdict. In verse 5, there are no more questions. It's just the sentence. And he delivers it with this chilling finality. Every single thing he built to protect the vineyard, he's now going to tear it all down piece by piece. Yeah, verses 5 and 6 just lay out this sentence of total desolation, step by terrible step. First, the protective hedge, gone. The wall, broken down. The land itself is just going to be left to waste. No more pruning, no more cultivating. It's going to get overgrown with thorns and briars. And then, the final blow. Even the rain will stop. The divine blessing is completely cut off. It is an absolute 180-degree reversal of all that love and care from the beginning. And then in verse 7, the whole allegory is finally spelled out for us. No more symbols. The vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel. The owner, that well-beloved friend, that's the Lord himself. And this is the absolute heart of the problem, the reason for the judgment. He looked for good fruit. He looked for justice and righteousness. But instead, what did he find? He found their polar opposites, oppression and the sound of crying. I mean, look at this reversal. It's staggering. He looked for judgment, which means justice, but he got oppression. He looked for righteousness, and all he heard was a cry. This makes it so clear that this was never just about farming. This was a deep, deep moral and social failure. So what was that cry? It wasn't just noise. It was the sound of real human suffering. The sources are clear on this. It was the cry of the most vulnerable people in their society, the widows, the fatherless, the poor. When they couldn't get any justice from the people around them, their cries went straight up to God. That was the wild grape. That's what made the harvest so big. You know, to really feel the weight of this song, you have to place it in history. Isaiah delivered this prophecy around 740 BC, so it's not just a story. It's an allegory for Israel's entire history. It's this incredibly powerful, poetic warning of what was on the horizon, the actual destruction of Jerusalem, which would happen in 587 BC. It was a warning that, tragically, nobody listened to. So, in the end, this simple song about a vineyard that went bad becomes this profound, timeless lesson about justice and consequence. And it kind of leaves you wondering, right? It makes you think, where else do we see this today? Where are simple stories, maybe about business or sports or technology, being used to explain really big, complex moral truths?